for the people at home. Go ahead and push the button and let them know who you are.
My name is Lois Tarkanian. Currently, I'm the Ward 1 Councilwoman, and I believe I've been very much involved in Veterans Affairs for my whole life. My dad was a veteran of World War II, also of the Korean War, so we moved a lot to different bases and camps and got to see something of what was involved as far as their lives are concerned. I've worked hard in helping getting the USL started, to get the Veterans Memorial here within the city. And mainly I think that what distresses me the most is the lack of respect that I see for veterans too often today, and that we need to have more respect for them and understand we live in a country which is the most wonderful country in the world. Even though it does have its problems, it's still the most wonderful in the world. And we live in it with the freedoms we have because of what the veterans have sacrificed for us.
My name is Doug Ward. I've lived here in Las Vegas since 1994. I graduated from the University of Maryland with a degree in business administration. I've worked with many insurance companies and credit unions. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Philippines from 83 to 85. And I'm married, have one daughter, and I've served as the president of the association for 3 years because we had a homeowners association in our apartment development. And I just feel that if I get elected, I would make a difference. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Margarita Rebollal, and I have two cousins who are veterans. They still like to go World War I, and they each have a son that are veterans of Vietnam, and I am a proud mother of two veterans, Marines, who are veterans of the Cold War. I also have a nephew who is actually in active duty right now. He's a major in the U.S. Army. In 1998, when I arrived here, I started a picnic that it was in honor of the veterans, because I saw back then there was no real celebration for the veterans here in Las Vegas. So I started that, and then as a result of it, I also started giving, in their honor, I started giving scholarships up to $1,000 to high school students. I am actually right now, I am the executive director of a nonprofit organization, Community Services of Nevada. We provide foreclosure intervention, first-time home buyer education. I am involved in the community 24 hours a day, if I may say so. And I am a graduate of Adelphi University in Long Island, New York.
Yes, my name is Donald Wolbright, former United States Marine, Vice President of Veterans and Politics. And my question is for Mr. Ward and Mrs. Rebollal. I'm sorry, Mr.
Rebollal.
Rebollal. I'm a former councilman myself, 3 terms, and one of the things that I really looked at prior to me running the first time was I took a look at the incumbent to see what type of a person he or she was and what type of a job that he or she was doing. And so my question would be to you two is, what type of a job is your current councilman doing now, and why is it that you want to run for that seat? Thank you.
Well, why is it that I want to run for the seat? The current council, what they do is they oversee the laws and regulations of the city of Las Vegas in this case, and they hire the manager. They hire different high-paying employees. The reason why I want to be a city council person is because I know I can bring some fresh ideas to the city. There are too many things happening in this city that should be taken care of, and one of them is the problems with the housing. Right now, there are too many houses that are abandoned. They're not being taken care of, and that should be something that I believe that the city council should have been taking care of from day one, and seeing that owners of these homes, whether it's an absentee landlord or whether it's a bank or whoever owns these homes, are taking care of these homes and keeping them in place and keeping neighborhoods safe.
I feel that the city council on Ward 1 hasn't done an adequate job, because I find it very difficult when I go down to the city. I always end up with a clerk or administrative assistant, and many times I would have liked to have spoken to the lady that was there. There are many problems in the neighborhoods, and there are neighborhood problems that can be corrected, but we need to have some more code enforcement to help clean up some of these neighborhoods. There's better parking, it's cleaner, it's a safer neighborhood. And we could also get the use of the police department to, instead of circling down the main streets of Las Vegas and the city, if they would come through the neighborhoods on occasion, maybe once a day or once every other day. But we just have to have many little problems like that in the area, and would be open to having citizens call, and I will talk to citizens. They won't go look at my staff unless I'm busy with something, but that's my biggest concern. Thank you.
Again, Doug Woolbright, Veterans Politics. If I could start from my left to my right, again, it's just a knowledgeable question. Could you tell me what the Las Vegas budget is?
Steve told me to hand these articles out. He said I could give it to the panel members. Yeah, absolutely.
No, right at this very moment, I know I can't recall it now at this very moment.
No, sir, I do not know the Las Vegas budget.
I can tell you we're $20 million short for next year. Our budget varies from month to month as we're cutting and as we're reducing forces. And we, I believe, of all the government entities in Southern Nevada, we're the first to cut, we're the first to minimize, and that sometimes when it looked as if we were cutting more of staff rather than of just administrators, we got into that too, so we've cut 60% there. And so that's sort of a wavering line, the budget, but right now we're working on making up $20 million.
Zulabella, Veterans in Politics. I have at first just a yes or no question, and then I have a follow-up question. For the candidates, dealing with the waiving of city licensing and permit fees for 100% veteran-owned businesses, would you support a fee waiver for 100% veteran-owned business for any city permits or licensing fees?
I would not approve the 100% waiver, but I would definitely would approve some sort of a discount for veterans, because we need to put the veterans back to work, and if those veterans who come back want to set up a business, we definitely need to work with them.
No, yes, veterans should be able to get a small discount on the licenses and whatnot, but maybe have to pay it back after 1 year, once they get themselves operational.
I agree that we should give a discount to veterans. I could not agree with 100% discount because I don't know until we went through all the figures what the impact would be, what the numbers are involved. You have to look at everything before you can say a definite answer on that, but I would be very, very partial to giving a discount.
Thank you. I have a comment and a follow-up question. I do believe 100% is in order. I think any young man or woman that serves their country and chooses to fight, bleed and sweat and watch his friends die doesn't deserve some 50% discount. I think they deserve 100%. It's my personal opinion. Second, my generation of veterans, my brothers in arms, appreciate the memorials and the parades that our country is giving to our fallen soldiers and those that are still walking the streets. What I'd like to know is that as councilman, how would you fight to give us something other than memorials, something other than praise, something hard like assets, something like buildings, something like lands? What would you do to ensure that this generation of veterans gets more than a plaque, gets more than a wall? And we can start on the right with Councilman Tarkanian, please.
Would you repeat that question succinctly, the last part of it? What would I do?
What would you do, unlike many predecessors, instead of raising a monument, instead of putting up a wall, instead of putting up a memorial, to acquire some type of,
I wasn't quite sure what you asked.
Okay.
I understand now. I would continue to do and work even harder on some of the things I've done in the past. I believe, for example, that the educational monies that we gave the veterans when I was younger were extremely important for our citizenry at that time, and were a wonderful reward for helping those who fought to be able to move up as far as security was concerned, as far as affluence was concerned, as far as education was concerned. I think that's extremely important. I think it's extremely important for us to make sure that veterans are treated in the right way when they go to hospitals. We do cover the expenses for World War II veterans to a high degree, but the other veterans don't seem to be getting the same. And even with the World War II veterans, I noticed when I was in the hospital with my dad, the respect that should be given to someone like that is not there. So those are two things I would work on. When you talk about things that we might be able to do in the city, I think we could, and we have already discussed giving a preference to veterans as far as work is concerned, giving additional points as far as what you're rating on a scale for someone to be hired. And I'm assuming that's what you wanted?
Thereabout. Again, I was trying to get away from benefits that are abstract, such as hiring preferences, and getting into more concrete things such as the city donating or giving to veterans some type of hard assets. You know, whether it's a building to be donated, land to be donated. There's a strong constituency in Las Vegas of veterans, and instead of lobbying so diligently for a memorial, which is still on city property or a park, you know, what can we do to say, here, you know, here's a community center for veterans, only for veterans?
Well, I understand what you're saying there. I think that what would have to be done would be for the veterans to come to the city with a plan, with a place where they think they need to have land, let's say. We have given land to other places. For the Smith Center, the Performing Arts Center, for example, we have tried to contribute to entities that will benefit the community, and certainly we will be listening, I believe, favorably to something for the veterans. But you have to have the plan, and you have to bring it to the council, and then we go from there.
Yes, I think the veterans should have something. I'm a veteran, but I did get the GI Bill when I got out of the service, but that was with the federal government. But I understand veterans today can't even get benefits that they should for when they lose a leg or they lose limbs in the military. And as far as the city doing something, Nevada, or the government is building the new hospital out here, and hopefully when it's completed, the veterans will have something there. But as far as having a meeting place or a place that they can call their own, I think there are some military groups that do have some things like that around town. But as far as giving them housing or anything temporarily, even, I think that could be done in some manner, especially with the high foreclosure rate that we have here in the city, to allow them to be in a home and pay the rent, and then later on, either they can buy it or they have to move on to their own place.
Well, I believe that the veterans deserve everything there is to be given. As I said before, I have cousins and nephews and my children, my two sons who were former Marines. And they deserve, we need to have housing, decent housing for when the veterans come home, because there's a lack of decent housing. affordable housing that they can move into. And we need to give them, I would think that you need to build some housing where they can get a discount as a veteran. Just like they give them points for when they are applying for a job, we need to give them discount points for housing, for education, and for everything else that we can think of. Right off the bat, I would think housing and a place where they can, a safe place where they can raise their children.
Richard Hawkins, economics professor and attorney. We're all obviously in favor of more jobs, higher wages, and improvements and exploring options, but what specifically can the council do or change that would improve the economic climate in the area? Start.
Well, as one council person, there isn't a lot that one can do, but there is a lot that can be done for the, specifically what I would recommend, if I am elected the city council person, I would definitely recommend that we do more for the veterans. Again, it's very difficult for me to sit here and tell you specifically what we should be able to do and what we should do. But as we all have mentioned, the veterans deserve the best that they can get from not only from the city council, but from the federal government. Right now, veterans, I know veterans, my next door neighbor has a son who has surgery 7 times. And okay, the service that he's been getting at the hospital is not the best because they have to continue sending him to San Diego to get better additional care. And the other thing is that the city council can vouch for, because like, for example, we have a congresswoman here in town that I'm sure of you know who it is, and it's Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley. She's always fighting for the veterans. She's always looking for ways to do better for the veterans. And when you ask why is it that it takes years for a veteran to receive his disability check, when he comes home and he's had 6 or 7 surgery, that's a disgrace, and that should not be happening. And what happened to my next door neighbor's son is that he almost lost his home. If it wasn't for his parents, he would have lost his home. And it's the benefits that we can come up with, but I can't give you specifically right now what it is that I can recommend, other than benefits.
Thank you. And anything specific? Next.
If my understanding is, I haven't been in one 16 years, but the casinos control a lot of the economics of this city. And if we can have new growth, if we can get some other small businesses or even medium-sized businesses in the outlying areas. We've got the land, we've got the people, but you've got to have the agreement with the city, and I guess probably with the state eventually, before they can come in. But I feel that economic growth is stifled because the casino industry stops everything that wants to come in here.
Thank you. Mrs. Tarkanian?
Unfortunately, I would have to say that there isn't much more the city can do. And you will think, well, why not? And I will tell you it's because we're not a home rule state. We do not have any way we can get additional monies or additional assets. Right now, we are almost landlocked within the city. The last type of land that we had is gone to the new company that's moving into town, and we had to move City Hall in order to get that done. That was about the last big resource of money that we had. So I'm saying to you that as far as big things, concrete things that you're talking about, there isn't much more. There is more that we can do, I believe, and we've started on preference and hiring. There is more we can do, I feel, in helping with housing, and we just got finally a grant that was promised to us months ago from the federal government that will help us as far as maybe giving preference for veterans and getting these special loans from the government for housing. But I will tell you, I know Shelley very well, And I know she works her heart out for veterans. And she would herself say, I believe, that it's far more than even the federal government has control over sometimes, I mean our federal representatives. And so I'm going to be really honest and tell you that that's where we are. We can only keep trying. And you know, maybe the parades aren't much, and maybe the park isn't much, maybe the USO thing isn't much, but it all adds up to adding respect and attention to the veteran, and those are things we can do, and we're trying very hard on that. And as I said, with the housing, where we've just got monies, that's another way too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug, do you have any more questions? Doug? No, you're good? I have a question.
Carrot's fine.
How many, starting from my left, your right, how many Lean Six Sigma practitioners are employed by the city?
I do not know the answer.
How many Lean Six Sigma, how many process engineers does the city have to increase efficiency?
I have no idea. I do not know that question. She may.
When you say process engineers, do you mean that's their title, or are they involved in that type of action?
Lean Six Sigma, either green belts, black belts, or master black belts. To where
I could not say. That has not been a topic we've discussed, and I could not say.
okay, well, that makes it a second part question. What would you be willing to do to create an initiative to hire more Lean Six Sigma black belts? And for those who don't know what Lean Six Sigma is, especially for those listening at home, Lean Six Sigma is a two-part thing. Lean principles is a current buzzword in business, as well as Six Sigma is as well. Lean principles are to decrease waste within a business. Now MIT has been leading the Lean Advancement Initiative, which is pushing lean principles in government. Now Six Sigma is it's a mathematical term talking about the Six Sigma, meaning it started off in manufacturing to where it's 99.9996% exact, meaning that there's 0.00003 deficiencies. So not only are you being lean and more efficient, but you're making sure that that's a constant. And that is what the whole process engineering, or Americans, the Society for Quality is an example of such an organization that promotes that. What initiatives would you move forward with to hire more
I don't
practitioners?
know whether that's a trick question or what, but you do really. Maybe perhaps my grandson could answer that one. But when you talk about lean and the way I understand it, perhaps I'm wrong, but I'm used to being lean in the jobs that I have had. I have worked with nonprofits and have always had to have lean everything, because there's never enough funding for you to provide the necessary services that you need to, but then you do the best that you can with what you have. And if we're talking about that type of lean, that's as lean as I can get for you, sir.
I think it's a trick question, but it sounds like it. Can you put it in layman words?
What would you do to hire individuals that their sole job is to increase the efficiency of government?
Well, first, and I throw myself out when I say that, but to maybe look at people with a better education, and that the union doesn't play a strong a part in the business that is wanting to do this. And this is what some of it is you can't undo people because of the unions. Unions have a strong hold in the United States. And consequently, some businesses just cannot operate or make themselves efficient because they cannot get rid of somebody that's become dead wood to them. That's all I can say about it.
Within the city, within the past 3 years, we put into effect a program called Performance Plus. And in that program, we have taken staff members, had them go for special training, and then come back and look at every single one of our departments and see where we can cut and how we can be more efficient. And that's what we will continue to do. Right now, we're not hiring because the finances are there, but that's what we could do. I want to also say, however, I think you have to be very careful that when you get to the efficiency of it, that you also don't take away the personal of it, because sometimes I've seen people who do what you say should be done. I've seen it done in senior homes, I've seen it other places, and it's something that ends up hurting the people, and there's a good balance between those two, and that's what we need. But that's what the city has done so far.
All right. Thank you, Ward 1. That is all the time we have.